Okay. It looks like I'm streaming, I guess. Let's see if we're streaming. I'm streaming, I guess. Let's see. Oh, I guess I am streaming. Good times. All right. So, what is the purpose of this stream? The purpose of this stream is to showcase what my non-friend, 10th man, should have done or should not have done. It is also because I'm hoping to get a strike. We're gonna see if Earl gives me a strike, and if he does give me a strike, then we'll deal with it then, and I will make videos about it, the whole process as it goes, and you'll see that at the end of the day, he won't file a federal lawsuit against me because this is commentary and criticism, and it is fair use. I want to point out that on the Texas Public Sex Offender website, my boy Earl has his alias of David Warden, like other than prison warden. He has that alias now showing up, so that's good. Didn't have it on there for a while. I'm going to bring this up on my phone just to make sure that I am actually streaming here. Down with the sickness. All right. So let's get into it. This is Douche Canoe number 2. It is hosted by Teresa R. on BitChute. It has one downvote. I believe that one downvote is probably going to be from Earl himself, but who knows? So without further ado, let's get into it. Oh yeah, before we do get into it, let me just say, number one, the best piece of advice I could ever give to you is never, under any circumstances, agree to an interview with the cops. Never. Don't do it. If you do give an interview to the cops, make sure that you have a lawyer present. Your lawyer, specifically. Listen to your lawyer. Some real quick rules of thumb. If a cop asks you a question, count to 5. At least count to 5. Count slowly to 5. As in 1/1000. Why do you want to count to 5? Because that will give your attorney time to tell you, don't answer that. Take the 5th. That is what everybody needs to know. Take the 5th. So if you do answer a question, you always want to answer a question as succinctly as you possibly can. If you can answer it, yes or no, answer it, yes or no. If you can't answer it, yes or no, what you want to do is you want to answer it in one sentence. Take all the time you need to think about it. If you have to answer a question to the cops, one sentence. Don't give them any more information than you can possibly get away with not giving them. Because as we'll see in this video, Earl gives them a ton of information, and all they do is they keep asking him questions about the new information. So here we go.
You have been, where you posted some videos about Shell and that too.
Oh, so you do watch my stuff?
Huh? Yeah, I've seen it a couple times.
Okay.
It's pretty sharp, you know? It's like,
Okay, so
I don't want to really tell you the truth, actually, like fill me in, actually, because I do not know the rules, surprisingly, because I have not been on patrol in a very long time. What are the laws like with sidewalks and easements and all that other stuff?
Okay, so what the cop is doing right here, just so that we're all aware, what the cop is doing is the cop is appealing to Earl's pride. The cop says, I don't know these things. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but whatever. But he is getting Earl to talk. And it's something very innocent. You know, tell me about the laws. But what he's doing is he's getting Earl to talk. And Earl's just not smart enough to shut his fucking pie hole.
It's really simple, and you should have Are you a certified police officer in the state of Texas? If you are,
This dumbass just asked a detective if the detective is a certified peace officer in the state of Texas. That has got to be the stupidest question you could ask. I mean, I know Earl just wants to show that he is so much smarter than everybody else in the room and so much more knowledgeable. But at the end of the day, if a guy has you in an interrogation room in a police department and he's wearing a badge and he's obviously a frickin' detective, yes. Here's your clue. He is a certified peace officer in the state of Texas, assuming the interviews in the state of Texas.
you just had updated training in January of 2016 on public photography and open carry.
Okay.
Public photography. So, Earl, you need to calm down, buddy. You need to calm down. You need to stop talking.
I remember the open carry part, but you got to understand legal update.
I know.
Hey, legal update is extremely boring.
I have a son that's a police officer. I understand. Okay. So
Who does he work for?
See, Earl just gave information. First of all, it's a lie. So let's just right there set the stage that Earl is a congenital liar. He can't help himself but to lie. But he gave the officer information that the officer didn't have. It's a lie, but it's still information the officer didn't have. And obviously now the officer is going to ask you questions about it. And this is a good opportunity for the officer to figure out when you're lying and when you're not, because the officer has done some basic research on Earl before he gets Earl in there. He knows these things. So once Earl tells a lie, the officer can use that to kind of figure out when Earl is or isn't lying.
I can't tell you that.
Okay.
Because
I can't. It's a secret where my son works.
I don't want him to have any hassles or problems because of what I do.
Well, if you're a cop, they will do background checks on you. They do background checks on you. And, the easiest thing in the world to do is figure out, hey, here's a cop with the last name Warden. Gee, I wonder if his dad is Earl Warden.
No, that's no problem.
I
But what is the law? Can you tell me though?
Anything I can see from public sidewalk, I can photograph.
So you can stand on the sidewalk?
If I'm standing on a public sidewalk, the Supreme Court has ruled that it's all good.
Okay.
The Supreme Court ruled it's all good. I love that.
If you stand in your window butt naked, God forbid, and I wanted to take a photograph of you, I can do it from the public sidewalk. Any place public. Okay? It's that simple. That's the short version.
Yeah.
I would love to know what Supreme Court case he's referring to, because that would make a lot of the analysis pretty easy,
So we used to have somebody that worked here that always got on to the, I don't want to call them solicitors. I guess they are the car wash people.
Yeah, they're kind of
We
solicitors.
used to always used to always tell them to get off the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's soliciting something different. We're talking about public photography.
Okay.
Yeah, soliciting's different. You may have city ordinances that regard to soliciting and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
different.
also public safety because they would be either on the curbside or on the median in the middle of Center Street. How it's got the median. They would stand in the middle of that and hold up their flyers for the car wash, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you try to explain to them, if there's an accident and a car jumps the curb, there's nothing to protect you. There's no place for you to back off of without stepping into traffic. So it's just, for us, that was a big safety thing. And I know, like, if you're up there at Shell, there's not a whole lot of public space before you step into the roadway. So I'm sure that's probably...
And I walk very
Comes
close
in-
to the roadway on purpose. Yeah. So what's happened with me and Shell?
And I walk very close to the roadway on purpose.
All right, so I got arrested out.
So Earl, I hope you caught that. Earl's like, so let's talk about Shell. Earl said, so let's talk about Shell. Earl is like, you know what, boys, let's get into this. Let's get this interrogation going. Here, let me help you out. Let me show you how it's done. What a dumbass.
Outside of Shell by the Harris County Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
They stopped me because I was taking pictures of trash along the highway. Now, I had a previous interaction, and it's on my channel, with a couple of your personnel, Sergeant, black guy. How many black sergeants you got?
One.
Then you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
What's his name?
Tryon.
Tryon, that's him.
Okay.
And another guy, I don't know, they did fine.
Okay.
That was, as far as I was concerned, I was done with Shell as far as testing them at that point.
So
And
do you go around and test the security for chemical plants or something?
It's not
or-
testing security. It's not about testing security. It's about testing whatever entity that I'm at. It's about testing them to ensure they respect my right to be.
I don't know if anybody else remembers this, but Earl did in one of his videos, he did something about how there are like six weak points or something like that in the shell plant, and if anyone targets one of those 6 points, it would blow the whole plant up. And yeah, but he's not about testing their security, boys and girls.
Be on public property and take photographs.
Okay.
It's that simple. Shell, understandably, is sensitive to this issue, as are most chemical plants around here. Now, I will tell you, and if necessary, I'll provide you with the proper contact point. That anytime I find something that's inappropriate or a security risk out in the field, I have a contact at Homeland Security that I reach out to and give that information to them.
Again, volunteering information. First of all, it's a lie. He doesn't have a contact at Homeland Security. He may be a snitch. He probably is a snitch. Let's face it, he is your classical snitch. But a contact implies that he has some level of trust with this person. He has some level of access to information from them. But that's misleading. I think he just likes to snitch.
If some nutbag contacts me and says, I'm going to go blow up a building, I send that all on to Homeland Security.
So if anybody thinks that Earl is a good person to tell things to, there's your sign. If you tell something to Earl, Earl will snitch on you.
You know, I'm not out here to get anybody hurt. That's not what I do.
Okay.
Okay. The whole purpose of what I do is to operate within the law. And of course, I was the day I got arrested. However,
Harris County or us?
you know, it's Harris County that arrested me.
Okay.
Tim Hill was there, and I was out. I'd come back to take pictures of the trash along the roadway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is the birthplace of Texas, and to me,
He came back to take pictures of the trash along the roadway. Not to pick it up. Not to pick it up, kids. Just to take pictures of it.
it is disrespectful.
If you go through Brenham, they're the birthplace of Texas. If you go down south, they're the birthplace of Texas.
yeah,
if you
I
go
know.
to San Antonio, to Goliad, we're the
But we have all the monuments here, or the vast majority of them.
Yeah.
And so I had gone back to get pictures of the trash along the roadway, and I had identified myself to Sergeant Tryon. I gave him a business card. You know, once I realized that he wasn't going to.
Oh yeah, for everybody who isn't aware, Earl identifies himself to the cops. He'll edit it out of his videos, but he will identify himself to the cops because he's Earl.
Push me about my identity. There's at that point, most of the time when it comes to dealing with police officers, and you don't see it in my videos because I cut it out.
And he just admitted to it.
I'll go ahead and give him a business card.
Okay.
Okay. If you're not demanding ID, I'm done.
Yeah.
If you're not telling me I can't be someplace that I can be, we're done.
Okay.
And they did none of that. I ID'd to Sergeant Tryon, told them that I was going to come back at a later date and get pictures of the trash along
Yeah, that's a good point, Thirsty Craig. Just like the pictures of the drowning man. Don't do anything about it. Just take pictures. He's a good citizen.
the highway. They said that they would put that in the report and put my description and name in there so that nobody bothered me when I came back. I was down on the Monument Road, whatever that road is, Battleground Road. Had an interaction with the sheriff's department there. They told me, you know, the same thing. You know, I'm out on the public road taking pictures of plants. Plants called on me. Sheriff's department showed up. Hey, you're doing fine. Before I left the area, I thought I'd run by and get my pictures of the trash. That's when I ran afoul with the sheriff's department again. It's Harris County Sheriff's Department. They had nothing to arrest me for, so they had to invent a charge. Tim Hill was there, and he told them, and I have the audio on a video, and he knows I have it, of him directing the deputy to create a charge to arrest me for.
What exactly did he say?
Interfering. That's what they got me for. Interfering in public duties.
Oh, okay.
Said that I didn't raise my hands fast enough for a pat down.
Oh,
Beat it in court,
yeah.
but I didn't beat the ride, and that's the whole purpose. And it cost me about $10,000, you know, all things considered.
It's fine, though. He's got a big war chest, kids. $10,000, no big deal.
To Harris County?
Oh, well, no, lawyer fees, bond,
okay.
you know,
Okay.
you guys don't see the other side of the coin when you arrest somebody out here. And this was just a Class B misdemeanor. it's expensive. It's expensive to fight it. It's expensive to make bond.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, too many police officers, all they want to do is make that arrest. And
Fancy that. A police officer wanting to make an arrest. Who'd have thunk it? It's like a firefighter wanting to put out a fire. I mean, things like that, you just can't see them coming.
it's unfortunate. This is what's creating the rift between law enforcement and the
public.
citizens today. We've gone for so many years, we've had broken windows policing. And now we're realizing that all that has done is put a wedge between the community and the people. I'm not anti-cop. Not by
Yeah,
a
your
long
son's a
stretch.
Yeah, he's not anti-cop, kids.
police officer, right?
I don't know how much you know about me. I'm also an ex-cop.
And again, more information. So what the cop was doing is the cop was seeing is he was seeing what Earl's response would be, because Earl had said the lie earlier. The cop was testing him, seeing if he remembered the lie. See how good of a liar Earl is. And Earl just goes, "Woo, double down on this, bitch." And now Earl was also a cop. Now, Earl was a security guard in Germany. I guess you can call that a cop, but he was a security guard in the army in Germany. That's as close to being a cop as he got.
Worked in federal law enforcement. Also worked for the government.
When did you work for the government?
After I
When did you work for the government? The only time he worked for the government was when he was in the army.
got in trouble. How about that?
He did not work for the government after he got in trouble. How about that? So now Earl is thinking that these guys are fucking stupid, and now Earl's going to start telling the big lies. So get ready for it. Here comes Nazi Hunter Earl.
Who did you work for?
I initially worked for the government. I worked for
Who'd you work for? I initially worked for the government. Can't say a name.
a government agency, okay, that I cannot name because I have a confidentiality agreement with Homeland Security.
I initially worked for a government agency that I can't name, which is a lie. Nobody that I'm aware of can't mention what agency they work for. But he has an agreement with Homeland Security. And Homeland Security didn't exist until, 2001 or 2, I think, is when the Department of Homeland Security was created. So, I mean, interesting stuff. Interestinger and interestinger. But he has a contract with the Department of Homeland Security, which would indicate, I mean, if you have some non-disclosure agreement with the Department of Homeland Security, one might theorize that you worked for the Department of Homeland Security. Huh.
And I was tasked to the U.S. Marshal Service, and I worked in
I was tasked to the U.S. Marshal Service. Jesus.
South America,
Because all of those U.S. Marshals we send to South America.
chasing fugitives in South America. After I got in trouble, I continued to work for the government through a contractor.
After he got in trouble, he continued to work for the government through a contractor. Now, these two boys right here, look at the look on this guy's face. Look at the look on this guy's face. Just stone-faced. We're just going to let this dumbass talk. But both of these guys, you see that pile of paperwork in front of the cop in the blue shirt? Earl's criminal record is in there. His convictions, the probate notes are going to be in there. His probation, not probate notes. I'm getting my brain on a different thing, but his probation officer's reports, things like that. I mean, these guys know what Earl has been doing. I can't believe that Earl is stupid enough to think that these guys are going to fall for his line of bullshit.
What'd you get in trouble for?
Sexual assault,
Okay.
1985, 86.
And they still hired you?
They continued to use me because I had a lot of contacts in the area that I was working for a variety of reasons. But anyway,
That's interesting.
it's
That's interesting, he says. He can't help himself. That's interesting. That's a euphemism for that's bullshit.
it's more common than you realize. I did that for a while, and that's it. That's the short.
Well, so I'll bet you that one or both of these guys either has themselves or knows somebody who has tried to move up from being in Deer Park PD into some sort of a federal agency. They like to move in and out get that kind of experience, because if you have experience with the feds, then maybe you can get a better job as a captain or something like that. Or maybe these guys came from federal jobs. Who knows? But I'm sure that they are aware of the level of scrutiny that people who signed up for the U.S. Marshals Service have to go through, or who are tasked, as if such a thing exists, to work with the U.S. Marshals Service. They do extensive background checks because you're dealing with criminals, and they don't want you to have any ties to criminal organizations or have any history of criminal actions, because then they can't trust you. You have access to things like firearms. Maybe you're going to have access to evidence, especially if you have some sort of a history of being a congenital liar. They can't put you on the stand. Anytime they put you on the stand to testify about what you saw, what happened, you're going to get the cross-examination of a lifetime. I mean, you are going to get tore down. Every lie you've told is going to be dredged up by the defense attorney. So, I mean, these guys know. These guys know. There is no way in hell he was tasked to a federal agency.
Short version on that.
So you were actually working for the U.S. Marshals?
Before I got in trouble, I was tasked to the U.S. Marshals.
Tasked, okay.
Do you understand the word task?
Now it's before he got in trouble, because earlier he said after he got in trouble.
Yeah.
Lent to them. Lent to them because when I was in the military, I spent my time in Europe, and so I had a lot of contacts there. In South America, there were a lot of World War II fugitives, Nazis that had fled to South America. There were also a lot of Americans that were
Nazi hunter. Earl David Warden, Nazi hunter. Sounds like a good movie.
fleeing down there. So I had
Argentina?
Argentina in particular,
Yeah.
but not just Argentina. The whole area down there was in the 80s a haven for Americans to flee to as well. So having somebody down there with contacts was handy for them. So there's a short version on that. I don't know how much you're getting from DHS on the latest bulletin, but that's it.
What,
Oh, Earl, the pride comes through. Did you get the DHS bulletin about me? Did you, boys? Did you?
You should have a bulletin on me. Maybe they've stopped
You should have a bulletin on me.
publishing it now. Last year they used to publish them about every 45 days.
Yeah, because anything we got on you is, it's been a while.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think the last time was a year, 2 years ago or something. And one of your postings, you made a comment about something about drones. You were
A year or 2 years ago. Well, I wonder what happened a year or 2 years ago. Well, that's when they figured out that Earl hadn't been reporting for sex offender status. Huh. A year or 2 years. Oh, just so you could see, this is from December of 2017. So about 2 years ago. What happened about 2 years ago? What happened about 2 years ago, boys and girls? Oh, they figured out you weren't coming in for your pictures for the Texas Public Sex Offender website. I love some of the looks. Like this one, he's very not happy. This one, he's trying hard to smile. This one's super not happy. This one, he's got a pretty good beam on his face. He looks pretty happy about that one. Keep your chin up there, Earl. Maybe you'll win. Maybe you'll win, and you won't go to prison for life.
going to get your hands on a drone or something. So that kind of, I think that was the last thing, was a heads up that, hey, just be aware of this guy. Maybe now have aerial photos or something. But
What can I get that you can't get off Google Earth?
well, there's certain things if you
Yeah, so there is a difference between drones. A lot of states are grappling with this particular notion. There's your property. You have rights, trespassing rights and stuff, up to a certain elevation, airspace above your property. But even so, there is an expectation of privacy in your backyard that isn't violated by the satellites. Satellites don't get the kind of detail that you could get with a drone. For example, somebody sunbathing in their backyard, etc. Somebody using a drone to spy on them, to video them sunbathing in their backyard may well fall afoul of a peeping Tom statute of some sort.
You see a Google Earth, in certain restricted areas, they'll fuzzy out. You can only zoom in so far.
It doesn't.
For
It
definition
doesn't.
purposes.
It doesn't
Plus,
serve.
it's also Google Earth is what 6 months to a year behind in most of their images.
It doesn't serve any purpose for me.
Right.
Okay. Other
Also, Google Earth will go through and they'll blur out things that shouldn't be on there. So, as opposed to sex offenders who don't tend to blur out things, and they hand out pictures of naked women to their friends and tell their friends that those pictures are of someone that they and their friends know. Which, I mean, that's just scumbaggery at its finest.
than sometimes to piss Shell off.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to rain on my parade, I'm always happy to rain back. Now, I will tell you that it is my policy to not involve people's families in things. If you have a problem with me, you want to
Earl brought it back to Shell, by the way, in case you missed that.
come after me, that's fine. I'm fair game. I'm public. I got no issue with that. I have had trouble before with people involving my family members, police officers specifically. And my go-to is very simple. If you bring my family into it, your family becomes fair game. I will publish everything about them. I will go to their place of residence and photograph them and publish it.
Like which family you talking about?
Police officers' families.
No, like
Yeah, that in Texas, publishing all the information about a cop in retaliation, publishing their family members in retaliation, that is a crime. That's what Salvaggio tried to get Freeman on, I think. But it was, I think, Furry Potato who did it, or somebody. It was somebody else who did it. But they tried to get, I think it was Freeman or Bow. They tried to get one of those guys on it. It is a crime. So Earl's saying, oh, yeah, I totally like to commit this crime if police officers mess with me or bring my family into it.
your family members. Who's messing with your family members?
Oh, this has been previously. Precinct 8, I had a constable over there that wanted to publish one of my daughter's home addresses and some information about her. Usually when I let them know that I'm going to, return the favor, that usually stops it. We'll bring it to a halt.
And again, just look at the looks on their faces. They know this is bullshit.
But I can tell you that I am extremely upset with this stuff with Mr. Hill.
Why?
I have no idea why he's making an allegation against me with his daughters. So let's get to it.
Okay, well, Mr. Hill, this is the whole reason why you're here, okay?
Now, Earl, this whole time has been thinking this is about Shell. This whole time he's been thinking this is about Shell. He's prepped for Shell. He's ready for Shell. If you've noticed, his little sprite here has been sitting there unmolested the entire time, and the hammer is going to drop.
And you're here freely and all that jazz, right? You're here and all that good stuff, and you're not under arrest or anything like that? Okay. Well,
So the reason why the officer is making clear on the record, because I'm assuming the officers are recording this as well. They typically will at least audio record, if not video record these things. But the reason why the officer is saying that and getting Earl to agree to it is because having someone at the police station in the interrogation room, a defense could make an argument that it was under duress, that it had all the indicia of an arrest. So the officer is making it very clear that everything that Earl's saying is voluntary. And Earl's like, yep, sure is. I'm happy to give you all the information you want because I am retarded.
you posted a video to YouTube talking about Mr. Hill's daughters, right? Like you said, there's like a beach in the background, and you're wearing like a blue shirt like that, and you say, I know where I can find Mr. Hill's wife.
Ah, okay.
Church.
I know the video you're talking about. Okay.
Is there a reason why you said all that about him? Did he do anything to make you mad?
No, it's strictly to make the point. Okay, Shell is so worried about security. Okay, I recently had it has become a thing. There.
Now remember, he had said earlier that he's not there for security. But now Shell's so worried about security. Now here he goes.
I'm not just the only person that does this. There are people throughout the United States. And so when they travel through here now, because of the trouble I had with Shell, it is like a rite of passage. They go by Shell and take. So, and usually when they do that, I try to be around to make sure they don't get in trouble. And so the last time that there was a guy out there, the Shell security guard tried to ram me.
Okay.
The Shell security guard tried to ram him. Mm-hmm. Yep. You know, assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder. I mean, trying to run someone over with your car, trying to ram someone with your car, that's big time. But no, these guys are just going to buy it.
I never left my vehicle, never got out of my vehicle. He tried to ram me.
Earl was in his vehicle. So the cop tried to ram Earl while Earl was in his vehicle, but couldn't? Interesting.
Okay, so they are escalating out there, which is why I have not been back out there. I'm not out here to get anybody hurt, and I'm certainly not out here to get myself hurt. Okay? So the video you're talking about was not directed specifically at Tim Hill. The idea was to point out the fact that, you know, they're so worried about security, yet they're giving me all the information. I can tell you how many deputies are on duty up there at any
Remember, Earl's not worried about their security, but here we go.
given time. I can tell you police officers, what agency, you know, I can tell you how many security guards they have on staff, because sometimes when I've been out there to film, they come flooding out. I can tell you the names of the 2 assistant directors. I can tell you the name, Tim Hill's name. I can give you all kinds of information about him, because when I had trouble with him, you know, I have people that do research. I don't ask them to do it, they just do it, and they send me all this information.
Okay.
I have people that do research, and then Earl realizes that his mistake. Well, I don't ask them to. They just do it, and then they send it to me. So do you have the people or do you not have the people, Earl?
This is how I know about, I didn't realize Tim Hill. I don't retain this information because I don't need it. Okay? I'm not going after anybody. If I want to go after somebody, I'm going after them in court.
That's not what you said earlier. You said you literally said, Earl, you literally said that if someone else involves your family or whatever, you'll go to their house, you'll publish their address, you'll film them come in and out of their house, you'll get all this information and you'll publish it on them. But now that you're realizing that you're exposing yourself, now it's no, fellas, you're totally misunderstanding everything that I said. Oh no. I meant go after them in court. Jesus, Earl, you're bad at this.
Not on the street. As long as they're not out there shooting at me, there's nothing to gain by going after somebody except getting my dumb ass thrown in jail.
That's not what you were saying, 4 minutes ago, dude? Roughly 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'm all about not getting thrown in jail for something I actually do wrong. Okay, so that was the purpose of that video, was just to point out that Shell, being all about security, is giving everybody all this information.
Okay. So yeah, you post that about his daughter. You say, I know who his daughter is, and then you say, I know how to find his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That kind of.
It was all over her Facebook, which I think she may have cleaned up now. I hope so.
Well, yeah. I would too.
I pointed out to him.
But then that.
Stalking a young girl's Facebook totally doesn't sound like a sex predator, Earl. Totally doesn't sound like a sex predator.
That, you know, to any father, you're a father of daughters, right? Any father of daughters out would scare somebody, correct?
That question's going somewhere, Earl. That question's going somewhere.
When that scares, you know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody, hold on, listen. If somebody posts something about a daughter.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you. I understand that. If that is all the allegations there is, well, I just explained to you what the purpose was.
Yeah.
I am not violent, contrary to what you may believe or what you may hear or what you may read.
I mean, I raped a few women, but that don't make me violent. Oh, hell no, I ain't violent. Just raping a woman at gunpoint, that's not violent. That's a struggle snuggle.
I've never heard of you until a couple weeks ago.
But you've got, so what you've got, so what you've got is a criminal history report and all this paperwork and all this documentation, and most of which is bullshit. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's bullshit. It's bullshit, fellas. That conviction, totally bullshit.
But you don't know me. So when you look at that, I've been where you're at. Okay. I've been on the paper trail. So
I've been where you're at, but you don't know me. You don't know how kind and caring I am when I'm not raping women at gunpoint.
you're looking at this career criminal, sex offender.
Yep, you're looking at a career criminal sex offender. Yep, yep. Check, check. Yeah, you're batting 1,000 there, Earl.
Blah blah blah. Okay. Put the paperwork away and start looking at me.
Okay.
Watch his handshake. Boy, he's not good at this.
Okay. I'm not, like I said, I'm not anti-police. I'm not about violence. I never encourage people to commit acts of violence. And matter of fact, if you go through all my videos, you'll find videos and commentary frequently where I specifically tell people, you know, that I do not support acts of violence or ask for acts of violence against people that have necessarily harmed me.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I just vaguely threatened Tim Hill's daughter. You know, I know what you look like. I know all your information. I know where you live. You know what? For purposes of court, that's all it is, boys. Because you know what? Earl's going to sue Tim Hill's daughter in court for what Shell did. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
So that brings alert to Hill, and that brings alert to our police department, right?
Yep. So now they have an alert. You know what? It just brought you to the police department's attention, Earl.
So we start doing homework on you,
Oh, homework? Ooh, what could the homework be, Earl?
and we find out that you're a sex offender.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we start doing a little bit more digging on you because they start to build like a file on you because they want
They start to build a file on you, Earl. You know, all these lies you've been telling, not really matching up with the file there, buckaroo.
to get to know you, right? Like you said.
Build that
Well,
paper history trail.
Well, your intel division is building a file on me for the Fusion Center. I
And Earl tries to take control of the situation again for the Fusion Center.
know how it works. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, well, not at the Fusion Center. I've heard of the Fusion Center. You know what I'm saying? So, and then they find a report made by Pasadena Police Department regarding.
He's talking about the victim there. He's talking about the victim.
1996. It's in regards to indecency with a child.
Yep. Indecency with a child back in 1996. Back when, I can't remember, Earl. Is that when you were in South America?